I'm very excited for this year. I think Georgia's offense is going to be the equivalent of our defense in 2021. I'm very excited to see with this 12-team playoff what it looks like. The top 2 receivers on this team are going to be in their 30s. I could see a situation where the Titans try to do a little bit something different, give the quarterback that they have in place somebody to throw the ball to. If Carson plays all of our games, Heisman for Carson Beck, run away. You heard it here.
What's up? Welcome to the You Know's Best Pod. I appreciate your support. In return, I hope I provide you with some worthwhile gems that benefit you on your journey. At the very least, I hope I put a smile on your face. If not, hopefully you share this with someone that does benefit. And I got you next time. Again, thanks for joining today, and let's get this thing going.
Welcome to another episode of the You Know's Best Pod. I'm going to give you the truth, the whole truth. Well, as best as I can, so help me God. Today, we're not talking about any special tips or tricks today. We're talking about sports. I am about to go on a trip to Toronto for work. It's the end of the quarter. So I'm trying to do everything but think about work right now. So, we're going to talk a little bit about sports. We're going to talk about the upcoming NFL draft. March Madness is starting, and, spring training is going on with baseball. So we'll talk about a little bit of everything. NBA playoffs is around the corner. So I don't watch hockey. I don't watch soccer. This ain't the forum for that. I watch World Cup, but I'm not invested in soccer like that. First things first, let's talk about football. So NFL Combine was earlier this month. A lot of things going on there. NFL free agency just happened. You have a lot of teams, a lot of players going to different teams. You got Saquon went to Philly. You got Calvin Ridley for the Falcons fans that, went to the Titans. You have Russell Wilson playing for the Steelers now. Justin Fields just got traded to the Steelers. Keenan Allen, a longtime Chargers, going to the Chargers player going to the Bears. You got people getting big contracts like Chris Jones in Kansas City. So much going on. And, a lot of people say that what the NFL is today is what college football is going to become with NIL being very much so like free agency. That's probably the most exciting part about the NFL is because year to year, teams are changing and you get to see your team change in a way that's dramatic that may cause you to go from a loser to a winner, make the playoffs, make a run. Think back about 3 years ago when the Rams traded Jared Goff for Matt Stafford, went to the Super Bowl, won it. So, in the NFL, I think more so than in college, you can, one or two players, especially at the quarterback position, could be the difference between you winning a national championship and not. In college, it's kind of hard to do that because there's so much depth. There are so many teams that have high-end talent. We'll see how that shifts with, the COVID year players finally running out of eligibility. But the teams that have the biggest and the oldest, strongest, fastest players usually win. And that's usually only about 6 to 8 teams. So, it's very hard to put yourself in that upper echelon of college teams because there's not enough high-end talent that's around to go to teams when they have rosters of 85. Some of those kids are not on scholarship. They're getting NIL walk-on packages. We can talk about that another day. But yeah, it's just real exciting to see what's going on for the NFL teams. As a Falcons fan, we signed Kirk Cousins. We signed Darnell Mooney. I'm not excited by the Kirk Cousins pickup just because in reality, Kirk Cousins is, when it comes to winning, an average quarterback. I hear people make arguments, he has great stats. He's top 5, top 10 quarterback in stats. Yeah. That's cool. Kirk Cousins has never won more than 13 games. He's only had 2 double-digit winning seasons, and all the teams he played on have not been trash. So for me, being aware of what my team is today, that means we go from winning 7 games to maybe 10. And that's me being hopeful. I think we'll be an 8 or 9 win team. So it doesn't move the needle for me because here's the thing. Say we make playoffs, say we win our division. We are still going to be drafting pretty high in the first round, but now we're drafting further back, which means we cannot draft the quarterback of the future for our team. Unless we happen on a Pat Mahomes who was drafted at 10, I think, because he got to sit for a year behind Alex Smith. So if that's y'all thought process, cool. I don't know that there's a Pat Mahomes in the next draft coming up. We'll see how that plays out this year. But yeah, not excited about the Falcons draft. We'll see what we do with the 8th pick. I would take an edge rusher. We've had issues getting to the quarterback. I don't think we need any more offensive linemen. We don't seem to draft well in the first round of offensive linemen. We seem to do well with the second, third, fourth round guys. So I would take this is a very deep class as far as offensive linemen, very deep class when it comes to receivers. We could use deep threat, but we just signed Darnell Mooney to go with Drake London and Kyle Bust Pitts and Bijan. Offensively, I think we're going to be decent. Defensively, I'm worried about our pass rush. That's why I would put my money first round. Because there are not a lot of high-end pass rushers. So you can't afford to miss on one. If we don't take Dallas Turner, who I'm not like over the moon about, but I think he's probably the best guy in this draft. I think he'll be a solid 8 to 10 sack guy. I guess we could take Chop Robinson. He's never had more than 5 sacks. I like the kid from UCLA, Latu, but he has a neck issue. So, that's also tough. So we'll see. I think the first 10 picks will go something like this. I think Chicago's going to throw a wrench in everybody's plans or thoughts of what's going to happen. I don't think Caleb's going first. I think it'll be Jaden Daniels. I think Drake May will get drafted number 2. I think Caleb will fall to 3. And that'll be interesting for him to go to the Patriots. It would be interesting if he went to Washington, the Redskins, because that's where he's from. So maybe he does go there because, the hometown appeal. But the last time the Redskins drafted a guy from that area, didn't pan out too well for them. So we will see on those picks. But I think the order will be Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, 1, 2, 3. Then we have the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals take Malik Neighbors. Marvin Harrison Jr. has kind of had an interesting approach. I know his dad is a Hall of Famer. Maybe he thinks he knows more than he does. I don't know. But I think Malik Neighbors, I don't think the gap between those two was as wide as he had perceived. And I think Malik Neighbors will go number 4. Number 5, I think with the Chargers, you got Jim Harbaugh there. So they could take an offensive lineman like Joe Alt. They could take a guy like Marius Mims. I don't think they will take a Marius Mims, even though he's like probably the best athlete and probably has the highest upside of any offensive tackles in this draft. But yeah, I could see them taking a guy like Joe Alt at number 5. Okay, who has number 6? So we got the Giants. Now this is where things can get tricky. The Giants have Daniel Jones coming off ACL injury. I don't think he's the answer, but I just don't see a quarterback worth taking at 6. But let's say the Giants stay where they are. I could see the Giants taking J.J. McCarthy. I think there's a lot of hype misplaced on J.J. McCarthy, but I could see the Giants taking J.J. McCarthy. He's a national champion. He has size. He has an arm. I don't think he's an elite quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but he's probably a better version of Daniel Jones. Probably a healthier version, more durable version. I could see J.J. McCarthy going number 6 to New York Giants. Number 7, I think this is probably where Marvin Harrison Jr. goes. The Titans do not have an elite receiver. They have D-Hop. They have Traylon Burks, who's a bust to this point. And then they just signed Calvin Ridley. I think because the top 2 receivers on this team are going to be in their 30s, I could see a situation where the Titans try to do a little bit something different, give the quarterbacks that they have in place somebody to throw the ball to. And this is where Marvin Harrison Jr. drops and goes. And maybe he has a successful career. This is where things get interesting. I already told you I would take Dallas Turner. The Falcons just signed a receiver in free agency. Got Drake London, who's going into his 3rd year. Kyle Pitts, who's going into his 4th year. So we got to make a decision on his option. You know what I'm saying? I think we're going to take Dallas Turner, but I could see a situation, because it's the Falcons, where we take somebody like Rome Odunze. Dark horse, Rome Odunze, likely pick Dallas Turner. It just makes too much sense. All right, number 9, the Bears. Bears just traded for Keenan Allen. They have DJ Moore. They just drafted Jaden Daniels. I think they take Brian Thomas. If they don't take Brian Thomas, this is where Rome will go. We've seen what happened with Joe Burrow when he had one of his receivers to throw to, how they produce. I could see the same thing for Jaden. It gives them a big, deep threat. Somebody that costs less money than DJ Moore. Somebody that can take over and learn from Keenan Allen gives them another offensive threat. They just signed DeAndre Swift. They have offensive linemen. Now, they could take an offensive lineman. I think they go receiver. They can't go wrong with either one of those guys, but I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU at number 9. All right, number 10, the Jets. Whew, the Jets. You got Aaron Rodgers, right? He's 40 years old. They got Garrett Wilson. They don't really have a receiver. And this is a very deep receiver class, so I probably would hold off on a receiver. They just signed Tyron Smith from the Cowboys at tackle. I could see the Jets drafting their quarterback for the future. It would be the smartest thing to do. It's going to be somebody that people probably aren't thinking. They're probably going to take Michael Penix Jr. So I'm projecting 5 quarterbacks in the top 10 picks. We'll see. If you want, let me know in the comments. I'll do a 32 pick first round draft because, you know, it's football. I love football. Make sure y'all like, share, and comment and subscribe. That's what I got for the first 10 picks of the NFL draft. All right, let's talk about March Madness. I haven't even looked at the brackets. The brackets just came out. Let's look at who the 1 seeds are. Literally, the 1 seeds are UNC in the West, UConn in the East, Houston in the South, Purdue in the Midwest. All these make sense. Yeah, even though UNC really shat the bed the other night, I don't see anybody stopping UConn coming out of the East. But if there is anybody that could, I think it's going to be Illinois. You know, I'm not saying that because I'm in Chicago, but U of I, let's see. In the West, you got North Carolina. Somebody got playing. The only team I see coming out of the West that's not UNC, I'm a Tar Heels fan. I'm a big Georgia fan. Got Georgia on me. But when it comes to college basketball, I'm a Tar Heel fan. I don't want anybody to beat UNC. But if there is anybody that could beat them, I'm going to go with Arizona, the 2 seed coming out of the West. They ain't got to really travel like that. So I can see that. Out of the South, you got Houston. They got Duke in that bracket. You know what I'm saying? You got Duke, Kentucky, Marquette. That's a murderer's row in the South. I don't see Houston coming out the South. I know they are 1 seed. I know they've done well. I don't see it. They got to get through Kentucky, Duke, Marquette in the same bracket. Psh, boy. Yeah, that's tough. All right. You got Purdue. Shout out to my Boilermaker homies. In y'all bracket, they got Kansas, Tennessee. I'm going to say that Tennessee is going to come out of that region. Coming out of the Midwest, we got Tennessee. Coming out the South, it's tough. I'm going to go with Kentucky. Coming out of the West, North Carolina, go Tar Heels. And then coming out of the East, I'm going to say UConn. I'm going to say UConn wins it. So you got UConn, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So for the Final Four, UConn, UNC, Kentucky, Tennessee. All right, so I got Tennessee beating Kentucky, UNC beating UConn. I got UNC winning it all. This is predictable. We'll see how that bracket plays out. I guess I'll fill out a bracket. I'll post a link in there so everybody can see it, or at least a screenshot or something somewhere. That's my March Madness. That's about as much energy you can get out of me for college basketball. All right, NBA. I don't know, man. I'm not excited for the playoffs. My team is Cleveland. I'm a Braun fan, but I am a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. Been a Cleveland Cavaliers fan since 2002, actually, when they drafted DeJuan Wagner. Happy to see them doing well this year as a 3 seed. I don't think that they're going to go far in the playoffs. They've been playing really well, but I don't see them making the Eastern Conference final. It's an interesting who the play-in teams are. I don't see any of these teams going very far. Phillies fell off the map with Embiid out. Miami, you always got to worry about them, but I think it's going to be pretty straightforward coming out of the East. I got Boston coming out of the East. They're going to play Milwaukee, if I had to guess. Out of the West, you got OKC, Denver, Mini, Clippers, New Orleans, Sac, Dallas, Phoenix, Golden State, and the Lakers. when you got Phoenix as the 8 seed and Dallas as the 7 seed, it is going to be very tough to win that play-in series. So I don't see Golden State or LA making it in the playoffs unless something drastic changes, because we got 68 games. So basically we got about 14 to 16 more games left in the season for teams. That's going to be real tough to have a lot of flux because there are teams that are so far back each other. But SAC, Dallas, and Phoenix all have the same record, so they're all 8.5 games back. So you could see a situation if SAC is at the 8 seed where they lose to the Lakers or Golden State in the play-in game. I don't see it happening, though. I don't think any of these teams are going to catch New Orleans or the Clippers. So I think your 6, 7, and 8 seed will be some mix of SAC, Dallas, and Phoenix. And then it'll be between LA and Golden State to play each other, and then they got to play. I'm going to say they end up playing Dallas. Now, if they have to play Dallas or SAC, I give Lakers a chance in a one-off game. Luka been killing it. Bron been sitting out, so you never know. But coming out of the West, it ain't going to be OKC. I'm going to say coming out of the West, this is a big if. If Paul, Kawhi are healthy, I got the Clippers coming out of the West, playing Boston. Boston getting their ship. All right, that's how I look at that. All right, let's look at baseball. Spring training. My Braves, I love the Braves. It got me a championship the same year that Georgia won their first natty. Well, their first natty in 40-some-odd years. I'm a big Braves fan, been a big Braves fan. I used to know everybody's stats down pat. So them being kind of wishy-washy in the spring training, I don't really care too much about. I'm interested to see how they play during the season because the last 2 years they have done really, really well. Won the division and then got mopped in the first round. I think the Braves play better as a wild card team. It makes them hungry. It makes them grittier. I don't think the Braves go for 3 straight division championships this year. I think they'll be a wild card team and they'll make at least the NLCS, if not the World Series. So we'll see. Hoping, for the Braves, tomahawk chop, all that. But it'll be interesting to see. All right. What I love talking about, college football. Georgia just started spring practice. They've had 3 practices. We have some transfers balling out. Kobe Young, Trevor Etienne. Love to hear it. Both of them came from Florida schools. Etienne from the Gators, or, the Swamp Monkeys, whatever y'all want to call them. And Kobe came from the Hurricanes. He balling, bro. Like, I've heard great things about Kobe Young, great things about Trevor Etienne. They're buying in. They're practicing hard. Georgia has a high standard. They practice hard so they can play easy. You feel me? And so it'll be interesting to see how things, trend over the next few weeks because we're going to start hitting. They ain't start hitting yet. When they start hitting, it's going to be interesting. Some interesting lineup mixtures. Some people, excelling thus far. When them pads start hitting for real, people start getting snot bubbles knocked out of them. We're going to see. I'm very excited for this year. I think Georgia's offense is going to be the equivalent of our defense in 2021. I'm very excited to see what this 12-team playoff, what it looks like. We got games. It's a tough schedule. We got Clemson first game. They're not the old Clemson, but they're still a talented team. We got to play Bama on the road, play Texas on the road. We got to play Ole Miss on the road. That's 4 tough games. I think we win at least 3 of those games. I just don't think Bama's set up right now to compete with us with all the turnover, new staff, matriculating. It's an early game in the season too. I don't think DeBoer will have his bearings quite yet on like what it's like to play big time SEC football. I'll be interested to see how that plays out, how the fans react to that. I think the game that we might lose is at Texas, not because I think Texas is a better team. I think it's going to Austin. It'll still be kind of hot. Texas is going to be pretty good on offense, and I think they sneak one. I think it's possible that they sneak one. It'll be interesting to see, but I think Georgia will win the SEC. They'll win the SEC championship game. I'm looking for another natty in January, but right now, things I'm really excited to see is how Michael Williams, hometown, performs this year playing outside linebacker. Ready to see Tyrion Ingram Dawkins at 5 tech. I'm a defensive guy, so I love this stuff. Malachi Starks come back, consistent All-American, will be a true junior year this year, sitting out limited in spring, but so much talent, right? I know we have some holes to fill, but we have so much talent on the team. But the offense is the strong suit of the team for a Kirby Smart team. And that's going to be interesting to see. You got Carson Beck, you got Etienne, Andrew Paul, Roderick Robertson, Nate Frazier, you got Chance Bowen, you got all those running backs. And we haven't been healthy at running back or had 5 to 6 healthy running backs in quite some time. You got the receivers, you got Arian Smith, you got Kobe Young, Ra, Dom Lovett, Dylan Bell, Anthony Evans will be I want to say a redshirt freshman. You got so much young talent on this team, but also guys that have played and transferred in so they can ball, because we ain't bring you in if you can't ball. Tight ends. You got the kid all the way from Stanford. Side note, shout out to Pierce Sperling. Prayers with you with the congenital heart issue, bro. We're deep at tight end. Guys that probably would be starting, probably all conference players at other schools. They probably gonna be on the bench. They might not play that much. Like Lawson Lucky, maybe Jaden Riddell. You never know what's gonna happen. And then the offensive line, we're big up front. Pause, homo, whatever you want to. Big boys. Think the offensive line is probably gonna average at least 335. Ernest Green, Jared Wilson, our center. So you got Ernest Green at left tackle. You got right now Michael Morris, man-child. He is only, I want to say, 20 years old and is about to be a senior. Big boy, 6'4", I think 340. You got Jared Wilson, who's the smallest one of them all, 6'3", 315. You got Tate Rowledge, fifth-year guy, 6'5", 6'6", 325. And then you got Xavier Truss, who's a 6-year guy, or Monroe Frilling, who will be a redshirt sophomore or maybe a redshirt freshman or a true sophomore. Both guys are at least 6'6", 320. We're going to be big. I think it's going to be interesting to see how we move people and throw the ball. I don't think people are going to be able to stop us on offense. It's going to be interesting to see. So I'm predicting 11-1 regular season, SEC champions, and we murdering everybody in the playoffs. That's my spiel on Georgia football. College football, I don't really care about the rest of these teams because they're not going to be able to compete. That being said, you never know what happens. We got to keep Carson Beck upright. If Carson plays all of our games, Heisman for Carson Beck, run away. You heard it here. That's all I got to say about that. Well, it's been lovely talking sports to you guys. As I always say, I wish y'all peace, patience, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, discernment, health, strength, resolve. Be easy or you don't. But every choice has a consequence and every action has a reaction. Peace out.